will hurt you for this.
I am the sword in the darkness.
Lion doesn't concern himself with the opinions of the sheep.
Let me give you some advice, bastard.
Chaos isn't a pit. Chaos is a ladder.
The Targaryen who sits the Iron Throne is not just a king or a queen.
The realm's only hope is in a leader strong enough to unite it.
What is up, everybody? Jeremy Icenfire here, and welcome to the channel. House of the Dragon Season 2 is just a few weeks away now, and we just received some awesome new information directly from Ryan Condal himself. And it looks like we have not just one, but two major battles coming in Season 2. Both that are reportedly far bigger than anything they have filmed up until this point, including Season 1, Episode 3, The War Down in the Stepstones, which was a pretty big production in and of itself. Ryan Condal also goes on to describe them as episodes unto themselves, which definitely reminds me a little bit of the episodes that we got in Game of Thrones, where the entire episode focuses on one giant battle and weaves a story throughout it. Similar to episodes like the Battle of Blackwater Bay in Season 2 of Game of Thrones, when we followed the POV of Tyrion Lannister and his fight to stave off an invasion from Stannis. Or like in Season 6 during the Battle of the Bastards, when we follow the POV of Jon Snow and his fight to defeat Ramsay Bolton and retake Winterfell. And I'm hoping we get a similar treatment for the Battle of Rook's Rest and whatever the second major big battle is, which will most likely be the Battle of the Burning Mill. Unless for some reason if they end up turning the taking of Harrenhal into an actual battle. But I get the feeling the Battle of the Burning Mill is more likely. But one battle we know for certain we are definitely getting, reportedly in Episode 4, is of course the climactic battle, one of the biggest dragon-on-dragon battles in the entire Dance of the Dragons. The Battle of Rook's Rest. A battle that has far-reaching consequences for both the Blacks and the Greens for the duration of the war, and is sort of a catalyst in Season 2 that will propel the rest of the story going forward. And I get the feeling the battle will take place throughout the span of the entire episode in Episode 4, but I'm hoping we get a similar POV follow-through like we got in previous big battle sequences. Like for instance, if we followed a single POV throughout the entirety of Rook's Rest, it could make the battle much more interesting and grounded, following the POV of someone like maybe Criston Cole on the ground, or even Rhaenys herself up in the air. From a storytelling standpoint, I really enjoyed following the POV of a single character throughout the entirety of these big battle sequences. It was very interesting to see Tyrion, how he reacted to everything happening during the Battle of Blackwater Bay, and watching him make these split-second decisions in order to help save the city. And I enjoyed it even more so when we followed the POV of Jon Snow during the Battle of the Bastards, when we got a really good look at just how chaotic a ground battle truly is. Oftentimes when we see a big full-pitch battle being filmed, we usually see a variety of wide shots that depict the entire battlefield in a single frame. But I really enjoyed how during the Battle of the Bastards we got up close and personal right there along Jon Snow, almost like we were going through the battle with him. Which certainly added an extra level of realism and insanity to the battle overall, which is something you usually don't get from the far widening shots that we see in most battles. But either way, I am really looking forward to seeing how they bring this battle to life on screen. Filming a battle of this magnitude is no small undertaking by any means, and according to Ryan Condal, definitely the biggest thing they have attempted to do. I've also wondered how exactly the Battle of Rook's Rest is going to play out on screen, and will it start and end similar to how it is in the source material. Another thing that stood out to me while reading Ryan Condal's interview with Den of Geeks was how he mentioned that Season 2 was going to have a much bigger focus on the children of the dance. That, of course, being the children of both Rhaenyra and Daemon, and of course the children of Alicent as well. And after seeing some of the footage released in the House of the Dragon Season 2 trailers, in particular this footage of what appears to be Moondancer and Baela chasing down Criston Cole in a field, in terrain that looks an awful lot like the same terrain that the Battle of Rook's Rest will be taking place in, has certainly had me wondering whether Baela and Moondancer might take part in the Battle of Rook's Rest as well. Based on some of the information coming out during the Season 2 filming, we have learned that they are changing quite a few things with the original source material. One big change, of course, according to Ryan Condal, is getting the children of the Dance of the Dragons involved in the fighting a little bit earlier on than their book counterparts. And if nothing else, all of the footage of Baela and Moondancer flying around is definitely evident that they will be getting involved far earlier on. After all, at this point in Fire and Blood, Baela has yet to even ride Moondancer. And if Baela does end up taking part in the Battle of Rook's Rest, I wonder how exactly that will change the overall dynamic of the battle, and if it could add an extra level of drama to it as well. The original Battle of Rook's Rest takes place between Meleys versus Vhagar and Sunfire, but if Baela is thrown into the mix, it could add an extra level of tension, especially if Rhaenys and Meleys have to go out of their way to protect the inexperienced Baela. I could totally see Rhaenys and Meleys sacrificing themselves and throwing themselves in front of Vhagar to potentially save Baela and Moondancer if it came down to that, which would undoubtedly make the Battle of Rook's Rest even more intense, while also at the same time adding a nice subplot to Baela's story as well going forward, with her potentially having to deal with the guilt that she feels for feeling responsible for the death of Rhaenys, and having to deal with that like a chip on her shoulder for the duration of the show. I can definitely picture something like that having a profound effect on Baela, especially considering how close Baela and Rhaenys were. In the show, of course, Baela was raised by Rhaenys and Corlys on Driftmark, while Rhaena was raised by Daemon and Rhaenyra on Dragonstone, so there is probably a much deeper connection between Rhaenys and Baela at this point. In fact, at this point, I wouldn't even be too surprised if Baela flies off on her own and defies orders to go and help Rhaenys if she does indeed find out that Rhaenys was sent to Rook's Rest by herself with no backup, which was always a decision I didn't quite understand on the side of the Blacks. Why exactly did they send Rhaenys by herself to Rook's Rest? They did have other dragon riders they could potentially have sent with her. Not only could they potentially have sent Daemon and Caraxes, but Rhaenyra herself and Syrax also could have accompanied Rhaenys as well. Having a second experienced dragon rider accompany them could have easily turned the tide in that battle. But either way, it should be pretty interesting to see Baela and Moondancer enter the fray if they are indeed going to be taking part in the Battle of Rook's Rest. But definitely let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you think this shot of Baela and Moondancer chasing Criston Cole could potentially be from the Battle of Rook's Rest? Or could it potentially be another scene entirely? And what do you think the second big battle coming in Season 2 will be? Could it potentially be the Battle of the Burning Mill? Or do Ryan and company have something else in store? But that is going to do it today for this breakdown of Baela and the Battle of Rook's Rest and the two major battles that we have coming in Season 2. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit a like on your way out and consider subscribing to stay up to date on all of our upcoming content. And a big thanks to everybody out there for watching, and we will see you on the next one.
The Targaryen who sits the Iron Throne is not just a king or a queen.
The realm's only hope is in a leader strong enough to unite it.